power, if you hear me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Dennis Roland Show, sponsored by the friendly folks down at North Oaks Health System, located right here in Hammond, just off of Veteran Boulevard. I'm Dart Vols, joined today by Assistant Head Coach Tony Hatmaker. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dart.
In the next half hour, we'll take a look back at last week's big game against Division 1A and Big 12 power Texas Tech. We'll take a moment, visit with senior tight end Robbie Skates, and we'll also visit with senior offensive lineman Donald Usry as he went back to where it all started at LaRonger High School, visiting with some young freshmen and sophomores. But first, in our first and 10 segment, sponsored by Pontchartrain Hematology, it was Texas Tech this last Saturday. Coach, your feelings on the big game?
Well, they were an awful good football team, and obviously we caught them at the wrong time. You know, they're good on both sides of football. When you go back and look and reflect even at any of those 3 weeks of playing those Division Ones, you got New Mexico State. Our defense has had some very, very difficult tasks ahead of them. They faced in the first week the young man, Chase Holbrook, who's leading the nation in total offense, 390 yards a game. And then this week we faced the number 8 total offense person in the nation, and then the Southern Miss game, the number 7 rusher in the nation. So we've had some very difficult things on the defensive side, and then us from an offense perspective dealing with some of the best defenses, and the number 32, 28, and 38 defense in the nation is always a difficult thing.
And you're talking about a team in Texas Tech, which was the week prior actually ranked in the 1A top 25.
Absolutely, and they were preseason ranked 15th in the nation, and coming off that loss to one of their interstate rivals in TCU, you know, they had a little mad on, and then obviously when they got one of their star receivers back academically eligible right before the game, that didn't probably add and help our defense's perspective any at all.
But all in all, it was certainly an outstanding atmosphere for college football, 52,000 strong in attendance.
Yeah, we told our guys that, you know, they're probably never play in front of that many fans ever again, at least not this year. And, you know, and we've told them from day one that they got to go, they got to enjoy the environment, you know, they got to rise to the occasion. And, you know, we just, you know, we didn't play our best. And, you know, different people stepped up and played well at times. We would have plays at times on both sides of the football. But when you're playing a good team, you got to have sound offense, sound defense, and then sound special teams. And their special teams really did some good things, gave them some great field position. Our tackling in the special teams at times we were a little bit shaky. And then even Jim, who had been so tremendous for us throughout his career, kicked some great ones, and then also struggled at some times. And even to the point where we started trying to kick it out of bounds. And there was a couple of kicks he kicked some phenomenal. Kicked a 49-yarder out of bounds there in the third quarter. And but at the same time, we've got to continue to have a complete offense, defense, and special teams.
Thank you, Coach. That was our first and 10 segment, sponsored by Pontchartrain Hematology. Let's take a look at what was talking about in our first quarter highlights, sponsored by Subway Sandwiches, located right here on campus in the Student Union Mall. Remember, folks, Subway, eat fresh.
We won the coin toss, and we deferred the second half, allowing Jim Hall to get us a good kickoff to open up the game. And senior defensive back Kevin Jackson comes down and makes a nice lick with a host of other Lions. You know, the first play of the game, they get a delay of the game. We come right back, and we get a pass over the middle. And right there, we've got 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys around the football. We miss a couple of tackles, and they on for 56 yards. And we talk about all the time about explosions, and you can't miss tackles against a good football team like Texas Tech. Get down here in the red zone, and they get a nice pass right there, find an open crease, and they put it up. 4-play, 79-yard drive. It only took a little bit over a minute. Come right back. Jay Lucas off the counter play. Kind of trips over Johnny Flowers' feet. This is our third play of the game. We had scripted out. We were going to try to get the ball in Jamel Adams' hands, and they had the right play called defensively for what we were trying to do. Then we come right back, get a nice 47-yard punt by Jim Hall and get a personal foul. Then we get Tony Johnson coming off the edge, forcing his fumble. And George Leverett tries to pick that thing up and actually sprained his ankle. And even though you see one of the Texas Tech players on the ground, it ended up hurting George Leverett was unable to play in the second half. They get a little play right here, a little draw play, and Corlando McChristian is trying to get off that block but was unable, and there was no flag on the play. Kick it, little sky kick right here. Keelan Davis comes up and catches it as the ball was up against the wind, and I thought he was going to break it out and find a little seam right there, and got us the ball up to the 33-yard line to open up the drive. Came right here, little hitch play out on the edge. We felt like we could try to get some quick plays, and Crawford Kilpatrick catches one of his 3 catches on the day, ended up being our leading receiver. That was a third and 2 play, and we're unable to convert. Seth had a little bit of pressure and dumped it off to Jay, and then they stopped us. Another nice punt right there. And right here is a nice play by Jay Skidmore. We run a little twist game. He comes underneath, makes a nice play, he and Stevie Smith. This is a third down, a 2nd and 13. Corlando McChristian tackle over on the sideline does a really good job. We forced them to punt. And right here is just a little mental lapse on Romeo. Romeo, he catches the ball inside the 10-yard line, which is a cardinal sin for punt returns, but I know he's just trying to make it. We go 3 and out, and defense gets back on the field. They run a little screen pass right here, and it's a great effort by Ernest Wilkes coming all the way from the opposite defensive end position. He and Duke Adams on the tackle. We got a nice little seam pass by them, and they can cause us a lot of problems with a lot of the routes and different things that they do, and that was Anthony Johnson trying to create something happen on the seam pass, and then they score right here in the red zone. After the 21-0 score right there by the Red Raiders, we come right back. We end up switching quarterbacks, not because of anything that Seth did, but we wanted to see Brad in the heat of the battle. We get a 14-yard run off the right tackle by Jay Lucas. Does a great job finding the seam and keeps his legs churning and does a great job. We come right back. Brad Slosher gets back in our empty package and throws a little shallow route right here to Byron Ross. Great block right there by Keelan Davis, and stiff arms the guy and goes out of bounds, and that was his best catch of the day.
Well, there you have it, folks. The first quarter highlights sponsored by Subway Sandwiches located right here on campus in the Student Union Mall. Coach, your take on the first quarter.
Well, one of the things that we talked about, Dart, was that we wanted to, from an offense perspective, was limit the amount of possessions going into the game to try to keep the explosiveness of Texas Tech and keep them off the field. And, we held the ball in the first quarter 9 minutes and 54 seconds in a 15-minute quarter. So we felt like coming out of that first quarter, obviously the score wasn't where we wanted it to be. And obviously, there's some things that we could take back and we could do better and maybe prevent some penalties on special teams and things like that. But as far as the things that we could truly control, obviously we would like to tackle better on that first real big play of the half of the game and, things like that. But as far as the things we really truly could control, at least from a coaching perspective, was to try to limit the amount of possessions and try to milk the clock down as far as we could. And I think we did some of those things.
Well, let's take a look at the second quarter, sponsored by Hammond Nursing Home, located at 501 Old Covington Highway, right here in Hammond. Let's take a look.
We start up the second quarter with try to get a 4th down and 2-yard play, and we don't get the route conversion that we were looking for. Brad holds the ball a little bit too long, and we take a sack, and it's just a tough way to finish up. Romelise Mayo right here on a little curl route. They come right back, and they hit the back out in the flats, and Tony Johnson and Corlando McChristian converge for the tackle on the sideline. They do a little play-action pass right here. Boy, their offensive line did an outstanding job of protecting the quarterback and giving Graham a lot of time to find those open receivers. Another play-action pass, removing the pocket, and Tony Johnson over there near the play. They slipped their running back out, and great job of conversion right there between John Doom and Pinky Hardeman. 1st and goal, and we deflect that pass right there. Great job by Duke Adams and Keyshawn Dantzler. They come right back, hit a little hot pass after we bring in a blitz, and Corlando McChristian just can't stop the wide receivers' momentum. They had some really big receivers. We come right back offensively, and a little play-action pass, and a great one-handed grab by Robbie Skates from Brad Slosher. We kind of go through the progression and hits it out there to Jay Lucas out on the flats for about a 1-yard gain. We come back right there on a 3rd and 9 play, and Brad just gets a little bit too much pressure where he was holding it before. We just didn't do a very good job protecting him. Great punt right here by Jim Hall, and one of our freshman gunners just misses the tackle, and then he breaks it out for about a 54-yard return right here. But we got great guys giving great effort. Betts almost a play. We got Jim Hall right there making a play, trying to make a play and stop him, and then Crawford Kilpatrick finishes it off. They do a little fake the Z sweep. We miss a couple of tackles at the point of attack, and then they sneak it in 2 plays later. It's hard to give those guys that kind of good field position and expect our defense to hold up. We come right back, and Jay Lucas on a 6-yard gain right here, churning his legs. Nice little seam and little cut right there. Again, Jay Lucas for another 7-yard gain. We get a first down on that particular play. Again, we're right here, right before the second half. Right before the second half is up, and we're deep in our own territory. And another 7-yard gain by Jay Lucas, followed by, again, another 2nd and 3. We've got another 5-yard gain. We get another first down.
Well, there you have the second quarter highlights, sponsored by the Hammond Nursing Home, located 501 Old Covington Highway. Well, right here in Hammond. Coach, you're down at the half. Let's talk about the second quarter.
You know, the second quarter, we had kind of gotten a little drive going there right before the second quarter, and then we came right in the second quarter. We come over the sideline. It's a 4th and 2 situation. It's really too deep to really kick a field goal. It would have been a 51-yard field goal. It's really, too short to really punt. We wanted to try to establish ourselves. We're already down. We need to get this first down on a 4th and 2. And we had set up something on the sideline. We had talked about it, and they came up in press coverage, and we just didn't get that thing taken and converted the way we wanted to get it converted. And again, it comes down to, you got a young quarterback, you got some young receivers, and, the experience is going to be vital to learn from those opportunities. And then, so Texas Tech takes it right back, and they go and score like a great team is going to do. You get a stop on a 4th down, you go down and score. And then kind of the special teams kind of reared its ugly head on us with a long return on special teams. And so that put the ball on the 24-yard line. They got a short field to do it. We come down, third down and 11. They sack us, get a fumble on the 19-yard line. They go punch it in. And, it's just one of those things. It's kind of like that snowball, and it just kind of got rolling on us on a bad note. But if we'll continue to grow, continue to mature from those experiences, I think we'll be good.
Thank you, Coach. Well, let's take a look at the third quarter highlights. The Lions return from the first half. Sponsored by the Caboose Restaurant, 2 locations to serve you in Hammond and Independence.
We got a first down play right here. We hit Crawford Kilpatrick, and he did a nice tight spin towards the sideline and almost broke out loose. Jay Lucas coming right here on a second and 2 play, and just can't pick up enough yardage, and we kind of stall out after a good first down play. Great kick right here by Jim Hall right over on that sideline. That's one of the things we talked about at halftime, that we had to keep the ball out of those returners' hands and try to kick it out of bounds at a proper angle to keep those guys in good field position. They come right back right here, and they go right down the field on us. They had a long play earlier and stuck it right in on us. They go up 49-0 on us. We come right back, and we try to hit that hitch play again right there to Crawford on a 2nd and 5. So now we're 3rd and 1, and Jay gets tough 3 or 4 yards right here, and we get a first down, and we're trying to get a little drive going. We come right back, get it up in there. Boy, if we'd have just got one block right there was a nice little seam, and nice job right here on a 3rd and 10 play right here. We get a 9-yard gain, and almost, if he could have just got one more yard right there, we could have kept the drive alive by Kendrick Perry on this angle route. Punt right there, boy, is probably the worst punt of the day for Jim, and his angle kicking on the left is not quite as good as it is on the right, and a 17-yard punt is obviously not something that he's awful proud of. Again, we're getting a little bit of pressure, and he tucks it down in there, and we get a sack by Vince Strickland. They end up running a little wheel route right there over with Tony Richardson in there at our strong safety position, and they end up running a little wheel route and throws a perfectly thrown ball right over our heads. Again, another explosion that we've got to minimize those explosions. Great job right here by Duke Adams and on Demarius Johnson. And at the end of the third quarter, it's 56-0 Texas Tech.
Well, there you have our third quarter highlight package, sponsored by the Caboose Restaurant. 2 locations to serve you in Hammond as well as Independence. Coach, your take on the third quarter?
Third quarter we won the coin toss and we deferred the second half and got the ball and we just really couldn't get we came right out, hit a hitch route out there on the edge by Crawford Kilpatrick, and that put us in a 2nd and 2, and we just couldn't get that first down to kind of get ourselves rolling, so we ended up having to punt it down to them, and next thing you know, we're punting it to them, and 2 plays later, they throw it to that stud receiver that just got the Jared Hicks, who just, he ends up breaking loose on us for about 48 yards, and again, they get it down in there in the red zone, and they score, and then we come back, and again, we can't get anything going. So on 3rd and 10, we throw a little angle route to Kendrick Perry, and boy, he just comes up 1 yard short, ends up being 4. And the guys are on the sideline, on the field. They're going, let's go for it, go for it, go for it. And I just, we're so deep in our territory, it just wasn't wise to go in that situation. So we punted it, and Jim punts a great ball, and the guy, exactly where we want it, 49-yard punt, deep in their territory, right on the sideline. And we've got 2 of our little freshman gunners. They go down there, and one of them misses the tackle. The other one kind of chops his feet down to break down, and they block him, and next thing I know, it's a 51-yard or 54-yard return, and even to the fact that Jim's actually got to be a part of the tackle, he and Crawford Kilpatrick over there on the sideline, so they got the ball on the 22-yard line. Again, short field position, and they punch it in, and then right there, we can't get anything going, and then they drive it on down the field, and then the quarter flips, and then we hold them to a field goal at the beginning of the 4th quarter.
Let's take a look at those 4th quarter highlights, sponsored by Southern Made Donuts, located in the Chanel Shopping Center right here in Hammond.
Start out the 4th quarter again right there in deep territory, but it's a 3rd and goal, and I thought we were going to come up with a fumble right here, and we ended up holding them right here to a field goal. And again, their special teams, their kicking game was really, really good. Start the kickoff, so it's 59-0 right now. And again, our guys are still playing hard. They're still getting after it. They're still trying to get better. And we're able to play some down the line guys and some backups that have, are going to, remember the experience and going to grow from that. Our special teams, again, we see a lot of young guys out there. Keelan Davis tries to break it out to the left, and with the speed that Texas Tech had, it's awful tough. We go in 3 and out. We get a nice little run by Demario Gilbert, 4 yards off the left-hand side. And then we get a great punt by Jim Hall. Does a great job. Hits it 49 yards out of bounds, and a little bit skittish at times for Jim, but did some good things at times. Nice play right there by John Doom on the out route. You got Pinky Hardeman, and you got Tommy Connors, freshman free safety from Shaw High School. They get down here in the red zone, and again, Tony Johnson coming off a blitz, causing a fumble right there. Freddie King almost comes up with it, and Tony Johnson did some really nice things. Get a little slip screen out here. Nice play right there by Demarius Johnson to hold him right there, keep him out of the end zone. And then, again, we come up with a nice play right here by John Doom, knocks that pass down, and we hold him and keep him out of the end zone and force a field goal again.
And that was our 4th quarter highlight segment, brought to you by Southern Made Donuts, located right here in Hammond. Coach, your thoughts on the 4th quarter?
4th quarter, obviously we started out, with our defense 3rd and 5 in the red zone, and it's an opportunity for them to rise up to the occasion, and they did that. They did that twice in the 4th quarter, and we were real excited about the way they stepped up in that 4th quarter. Anytime you can, hold a team as explosive as Texas Tech in the red zone, two field goals, and keep that score down, then you're making some progress and you're doing some things, and those are some of the positives that we can take out in the 4th quarter, along with a great punt by Jim Hall, 49-yard punt, as the kick returner who had been giving us fits catches it out of bounds and limits the return to 0.
Now it's time for a look at our Big Play of the Week, sponsored by Smith Properties. This week's Big Play of the Week comes courtesy of Tony Johnson on a fumble. Coach, tell us a little bit about Tony and that play.
Tony's been a guy, he was a high school graduate of Redemptorist High School, same high school as Jay Lucas. And, he's been playing, he played some safety for us last year, played some corner for us this year. And Coach Lucas has really been keeping his eye on him, and he gave him his opportunity to play in some of our nickel package and even in some of our dime package. And We used him as a blitzer off the edge a lot on Saturday, and he came off the edge on a couple different times, and that's a play that was the big play. Came off the edge, got a sack, and forced a fumble, and we almost recovered that thing.
And that was a look at our Big Play of the Week, sponsored by Darrell Smith at Smith Properties. We certainly appreciate Smith Properties and all their continued support. And now, folks, it's time for a look at our Student Athlete Profile of the Week, sponsored by North American Insurance Agency, located in Covington on Highway 190. This week's feature, senior tight end Robbie Skates. Let's take a look.
I think I'm a team player, team first. First goal is to win. Second goal, I guess, would be to just play together as an offense, more as a team. Try to move the ball consistently. So I think we'll step into the conference and step into this Gardner-Webb game with a lot more confidence, a lot more swagger, especially going on the road after going to Texas Tech and Southern Miss. Now we go to Nichols and McNeese. I don't think it's going to be as big a problem as it could have been. Well, I was originally a sports management major, then I changed it to general studies for my 5th year of eligibility. So I'll graduate in the spring, and my favorite teacher is Dr. Merckx in kinesiology. She helps me out a lot. I think I've reached more goals than I really expected myself to.
Our Student Athlete feature brought to you every week by North American Insurance Agency. Coach, your thoughts on Robbie Skates and the leadership he's brought to the team, not just this year, but over his career?
You know, Robbie's a guy that he does a lot of things for our football team. You know, during camp, he got a thigh contusion, and that kept him out almost all of camp. He and Corlando McChristian ran into each other like day 2 or day 3 of camp, and it was tough for him not to be out there because we've got so many young guys that are right there behind him. You got Kendrick Walls, you got Luis Salvavaro, you got Josh Wilson, you got some young guys that are right there behind him, and he provides some experience. You know, he's been in this offense for 4 years, and the other thing that he really brings to the table for us is he does a great job on all of our snapping. He's our long snapper and our short snapper, and he does a great job of blocking and covering, and he'll be missed a year from now.
And now it's time, folks, for a look at our Lion Community segment, sponsored by Creative Clips Video. For all your video production needs, call Creative Clips Video, located right here in Hammond. This week, center Donald Usry, 4-year senior for the Lions, heads back to where it all started, Laranja High School, his alma mater. Let's take a look.
When Donald Usry went back to Laranja High School, it wasn't hard for the kids to look up to Donald. The fact that Usry is 6'3" helped a little bit, but Donald brought a message to them in hopes of helping them achieve some of the goals he has.
I'm pretty much trying to get across that education is very important to a person, that nobody can take your education away from you. It's something that stick with you and get you further in life.
Usry graduated from Laranja High School in 2002, and since his arrival at Southeastern, Donald has been a fixture on the offensive line. And he loves the chance to go back and speak with today's students because he remembers those who helped him when he was young.
Coach Messina set a good example, showed me that you need to work hard to go to school and get your grades where you can go to a good program instead of going to a junior college.
Instead of just standing before the students and talking, Donald took another approach. He actually lined the students up into a football formation and showed them a play that Southeastern uses. And Laranja showed Donald how much they enjoyed him coming to visit.
It felt good to come here today, see all the kids show me respect, sit here and listen, and actually run a football play that we scored another day.
Well, there you have our Lions in the Community segment, brought to you by Creative Clips Video. You can visit them online at creativeclips.net. Coach, it's always important for all of our student athletes, not just football, to get out into the community. Donald Usry certainly does a great job in that regard.
Yeah, Donald's really learned to embrace, he's not the most, he doesn't enjoy the public speaking near as much, I think, in a large setting, but he really enjoys being there amongst the kids. You know, he talked about all the time, just having those great relationships there at Laranja High School, and just how many people really come out and know who he is. And he understands his role, not only in the overall scheme of the community services and things like that, but he's been a part of this program from the very beginning. He's been part of the bedrock and the foundation, and he understands that there's so many people that he has influence over because they're watching every step and every move he makes.
Now it's time for our scouting report, sponsored by Dixie RV. This week's opponent for the Lions, the Gardner-Webb Bulldogs. Coach, your thoughts on the Bulldogs?
Well, you know, the Bulldogs are a 1AA school out of Bowling Springs, North Carolina. You know, the Lions, we played them in 2004. Did not get to play them last year. They're a good program. They come from the Big South Conference. And, you know, offensively and defensively. Offensively, they are pretty multiple. We watched their game against Jacksonville. That was one of the games that we got in preparation for this. And they do a lot of good things on both sides of the football. They've got some athleticism out on the perimeter. Their quarterback's solid. They try to stay balanced, 50-50 run to pass. Probably, you know, in some of those games, they've been able to run a little bit more than pass in their games against Tennessee Tech and UT Martin. And then last week they played Appalachian State, defending national champions. And 13-6 at halftime, and then kind of in the third quarter, kind of got away from them. They allowed 2 punt returns for touchdowns, and then I think a late touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. But they're a good football team. When we went out there and played them in 2004, they got after us a little bit, and we've been looking forward to the opportunity. Defensively, they come from a 4-3 package. They're real heavy run stoppers, and hopefully we can get out on the perimeter and do some things and use our athleticism to our advantage.
Well, that was our scouting report, sponsored by Dixie RV. Next week, folks, it is Gardner-Webb. Tickets are still available. 6 o'clock is that game, September 30th, right here in Strawberry Stadium. If you're looking for tickets, call 549-5466. Well, that'll do it, folks, for this episode of the Dennis Roland Show, sponsored by North Oaks Health System, located right here in Hammond off Veterans Boulevard. We'll see you next time. For Coach Tony Hatmaker, I'm Dart Bulls. Take care.